Hey everybody, what is up? Fourth Seraph here, and today I have an exciting video for you. I'm going to be reviewing the HTC Vive. I have the box that it comes in right here. Now this is obviously a VR headset. This is one of the top end ones on the market. I would say that this and the Oculus are probably the most popular until the PS VR comes out later this year. So let's get into it. I'll open this up and show you guys some of the things inside. Now, obviously not everything is in here because I actually have it set up downstairs. So this isn't mine, it's my brother's, but he let me borrow it to do this review. I've gotten to play it quite a bit with him and can say it's really fun. But the first thing that you're going to have here is the controllers. These are super awesome. So they are motion controllers. You also have two lighthouses that you set up kind of in the corners of the rooms. Controllers have a trigger, buttons on the side, a touchpad on the top, and then two more buttons up and down of the touchpad. And they work really, really well. Next thing we'll look at is the headset here. So this is the headset, so it's got tracking all inside of it, a camera here on the front, and then it's got two eyepieces in there if you can see them, and it just goes right over your head. It attaches pretty well. It can adjust on here, and for the most part it works really well. I do notice that for me, when I look straight down, sometimes it will come a little bit off of my face and it can become a little bit blurry. But in 90% of the games, you never do that. So it hasn't really been too much of a problem. And even in games where I do, I can just kind of hold it a little bit. And it's only because I haven't tightened it anymore, because if other people are using it, the game that mainly happens in is golf, which you might see a little bit of gameplay of here on the screen. But other than that, I've never really had too many problems with it. There has been the occasional tracking issue, but it always resolves really easily. So now let's actually talk about the product. How does it work? What is it like? And I have to be honest, there is really nothing else I've ever done in my entire life that is quite like this. It is a completely unique experience. It is absolutely insane. It is so fun. It is just a crazy, crazy experience, and most of the games even are small demos, unfinished, or something like that. So there's not really any full $60 Call of Duty type, completely done type of games, and yet it is still so enjoyable. The tracking and stuff works really well, surprisingly well. You really do feel like you are in the game, and that is what it's all about. You feel like you're in this world, like you can reach out and touch stuff. And it is just absolutely amazing. As far as games go, it is compatible with the Steam VR, and so there are quite a few games, even at the early stage, and I'm sure that there will be a huge influx now that Microsoft and Sony have put their weight behind VR becoming a thing. Before it was just seen as a little bit of an oddity, something that people thought was maybe a gimmick, but let me tell you, this truly is the future. Now you can get a bit tired doing it, so I don't know if it will ever replace console or PC gaming, because that's something you can do for hours on end, and you just quite frankly can't do VR for hours on end. After about an hour, you're usually pretty tired, depending on the game. The only really negatives of this are that it's not as good as it will be. I don't want to say that there's necessarily negatives or that there's anything bad about this, because there's really not, but there are still occasional tracking issues and things like that, although they have gotten better over the month or month and a half that I've had this so far. They have gotten better as there's been constant updates. The only other thing is that it can be a little bit difficult for new people, in that you are in a confined space. We play in a room, and so occasionally people do hit the walls and things. There is a grid that will come up on screen and show people where the walls are, but sometimes people get so immersed in it that they will end up actually hitting the walls. Now that is also a benefit, that you can get so immersed in this game that you forget that there are actually walls and other things around you in real life. That really is a testament to how good this is. The other thing is sometimes you can get kind of tripped up with the cord a little bit, because there are cords, and if you have headphones or speakers, you do need something like that for sound, and the headphone cord can kind of get in the way a little bit as well. The really major downside to this is that the Vive is $800 right now, and that is just the headset, the controllers, the lighthouses, cables. You still need a computer that can run it, so if you're a computer gamer, you probably already have that. But for us, we didn't have one, so we did build a computer. and we got about the cheapest one we could do for around $1,000, and we're able to play that way. But in total, between computer, monitor, and Vive, we ended up around $2,000 to get this all in all. So if you have a computer already, it's still a large price tag. If you don't have a computer and want to play, it is a humongous price tag. So this is not really a consumer-based product. This is a very specialty niche thing that is not really available to everyone. But I think as Microsoft and Sony continue to develop theirs, it will become much and much more that way. As far as games go, the games are pretty well. For the most part, you don't really get any type of motion sickness or dizziness or anything like that. I think the Vive is the best one as it comes to that. You don't really get messed up while you're in the world or anything like that. However, there are at least one or maybe two games I can think of where that does happen some. There was one where it is really, really bad, and that's more so the game developer's fault, not the Vive's fault. But that can still be a possibility. While I know that that's something that they're trying to work on to make sure that doesn't happen, it still can happen occasionally. However, I have even had my parents try it, and people who are more prone to motion sickness than me, I have a pretty strong stomach, pretty good sense of balance and everything, so I don't have to worry about it too much. People who are more prone to that, and they've still been able to play all the normal games completely fine, and so that's not something you have to worry about, but in certain games it could still be a problem. Really, one of the only other problems is that in super precise things, there are some games in which you have to load maybe a magazine into a gun. It can sometimes be a little bit difficult to be incredibly accurate and precise. Also, in some games you almost have to move where the controllers kind of hit into each other and you almost have to move a little bit closer, which can be a little bit odd. But I think that's something that developers are working on. This is still such a new technology. I'm lucky to have a very early Vive and be able to play it before most people have gotten to play one, and before still a lot of people even know that this technology exists. All in all, I would have to say that if you can afford it, this is a must-get. I've enjoyed this so much. I'm so excited for more games to come out, bigger and better things. I'll definitely be getting the PSVR when it comes out. I'm really excited for this. Virtual reality is quickly becoming one of my favorite things, and I think that if you can afford this and get it, you will really enjoy it too. So I definitely have to put my stamp of approval on it. The HTC Vive is awesome. There you guys go. That's my review. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and maybe share it with your friends, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.